Hello everybody. If you want to read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. Short story 644, The Whispering Fog. Intermediate. Captain Elias had sailed the open sea for 20 years. His small fishing boat, the Sea Raven, was his only home. One evening in late autumn, he set out alone from the port, hoping for a good catch. The sky was clear and the water was calm, but as night fell, a thick fog rolled in from nowhere. It swallowed the stars and muffled the waves. Elias felt a chill in his bones, but he ignored it. He was a strong man, not afraid of the dark. At first, everything seemed normal. Elias cast his nets and waited. The boat rocked gently. Then he heard it, a soft whisper. It came from the fog like a voice calling his name. Elias! Elias! He stopped and listened. Was it the wind? Or maybe a trick of the sea? He shook his head and laughed. You're getting old, he told himself. But the whispers grew louder. They sounded like many voices now, murmuring secrets. Elias turned on his lantern, but the light barely cut through the mist. He peered over the side of the boat. The water was black and still. Suddenly, something brushed against the hull, a soft thump, like a hand tapping from below. His heart raced. He grabbed a hook and leaned over. In the water he saw shapes, pale faces staring up at him. They were not fish. They looked like people, with empty eyes and twisted mouths. Elias dropped the hook in shock. This can't be real, he gasped. The fog thickened, wrapping around the boat like cold fingers. The whispers turned into cries. Join us! Join us in the deep! Elias remembered an old sailor's tale about the lost fleet, a group of ships that sank in a storm long ago. Their crews were said to wander the sea, pulling the living down to share their fate. Panic rose in his chest. He rushed to the engine and tried to start it. Nothing. The motor was dead. The boat drifted aimlessly. Then hands appeared over the edge, wet, bony hands grasping the rail. Elias screamed and swung an oar. He hit one and it fell back with a splash. But more came. Faces emerged from the fog, ghostly and decayed. Elias fought desperately. He smashed at the hands and shouted curses. One ghost climbed aboard, its eyes glowing with hunger. It reached for him, whispering his sins, things he had done long ago, like abandoning a friend in a storm. Guilt flooded him, but he refused to give in. With all his strength, he pushed the ghost overboard. As dawn broke, the fog began to lift. The whispers faded and the hands vanished. The engine roared to life. Elias steered the Sea Raven back to shore, his body shaking. He never spoke of that night, but he sold his boat and never sailed again. The sea kept its secrets, but Elias knew the truth. Some horrors wait in the mist, hungry for the living. Vocabulary notes. Word, whisper, noun, verb. Definition, noun, a soft or long voice or sound, often secretive. Verb, to speak or make a sound softly. Example, then he heard it, a soft whisper. It came from the fog like a voice calling his name. Similar words, murmur, mutter, hush, mumble. Example with similar word. The sailors began to murmur when they saw the strange fog. Word, fog, noun. Definition, a thick cloud of tiny water droplets near the ground, making it hard to see. Example, one evening in late autumn, a thick fog rolled in from nowhere. Similar words, mist, haze, smog, vapor. Example with similar word. The mist covered the sea, hiding the horizon from view. Word, ghostly, adjective. Definition, looking like or relating to a ghost, pale, eerie, or supernatural. Example, faces emerged from the fog, ghostly and decayed. Similar words, eerie, spooky, spectral, phantom. Example with similar word, the eerie silence on the boat made Elias feel uneasy. Word, grasp, verb, noun. Definition, verb, to hold or seize something tightly. Noun, a firm hold or grip. Example, then hands appeared over the edge, wet, bony hands grasping the rail. Similar words, clutch, grab, seize, hold. Example with similar word, he tried to clutch the oar to defend himself. Word, decay, verb, noun. Definition, verb, to rot or break down. Noun, the state of rotting or being ruined. Example, faces emerged from the fog, ghostly and decayed. Similar words, rot, deteriorate, decompose, ruin. Example with similar word, the old ship began to rot after years in the water. Story written by Grok AI, image created by Grok AI. To read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you.
So, today we're going to tear into a short, atmospheric horror story called The Whispering Fog. We're going to peel back all its creepy layers and see exactly how the author uses very specific language and some classic horror tricks to build this incredible sense of dread. And believe it or not, we're actually going to start at the very end. This is the last line of the story, and it's just a perfect, chilling promise of everything we're about to unpack. So let's see how we get there.
All right, so the story kicks off with a move you've probably seen 100 times in horror, the classic calm before the storm. We meet our main guy, Captain Elias, a total veteran of the sea, on what feels like just another totally normal night.
Now, this setup is so crucial. The author is lulling us and Elias into a false sense of security. 20 years at sea? This guy isn't going to be spooked by a little bump in the night. The clear sky, the calm water, it's all designed to make us relax, which of course makes the terror that's coming that much more effective.
But you know that peace is not going to last, right? The whole scene just shatters when the story's main antagonist shows up. And here's the thing, it's not a person or a monster, at least not at first. It's the world itself that turns against him.
The fog just appears, totally out of nowhere, which is unnatural right off the bat. And notice the words the author uses here, swallowing and muffling. It's not just blocking his view, it's actively erasing the world. His home, the sea, becomes this alien, hostile place in an instant. And that brings us to our first item in what I'm calling the storyteller's toolkit, fog. See, in horror, fog is never just weather. It's a weapon. It takes away your sight, it muffles sound, and it forces your own imagination to fill in the blanks with the worst possible things. The second that fog rolls in, the normal rules are out the window. And right on cue, the unknown starts talking. But it's not a loud jump scare, is it? It's quiet, it's personal. And what's the first thing Elias does? He tries to explain it away. It's just the wind, a trick of the sea. He's desperately trying to hold on to his normal, rational world. So let's look at our next tool here, the whisper.
Why a whisper? I mean, a scream would be scary, sure, but a whisper? A whisper is intimate. It implies closeness. It suggests the threat isn't way out there in the fog. It's right next to you, breathing down your neck, even when you can't see a thing. So unsettling.
Okay, so all of Elias's attempts to just brush this off, yeah, they're about to completely fall apart. The threat is about to go from something he can only hear to something he can see. The line between his boat and whatever's in that water is about to break. And this is the moment. The confirmation. It's not the wind. It's not a trick. The source of those whispers is real, and it is pure nightmare fuel. Pale faces, empty eyes, all of his worst fears are suddenly staring right back at him from the deep. And it all hangs on one little word here: ghostly. That single adjective changes everything. Up until now, you could maybe imagine it was something else, but ghostly slams the door on that. We are officially in the supernatural. These aren't just people in the water. There's something else entirely, playing by a whole different set of terrifying rules. And then they speak. Their goal is crystal clear and absolutely horrifying. They're not just making spooky noises, they're making a demand. This isn't just some random haunting. It's a recruitment drive for the dead. There is zero confusion about what they want from him. So the threat is no longer just watching and whispering from a distance. The time for wondering is over. Now Elias has to fight for his life as these things start to come aboard his boat. And just like that, the situation gets so much worse. First, his engine dies. Boom, no escape. He's a sitting duck. And then comes the physical invasion. The description: wet, bony hands. It's so visceral. You can almost feel it. They are literally reaching out of their world into his. And again, let's look at the word choice: grasp. They don't just touch or hold the rail. Holding can be passive. Grasping is desperate. It's forceful. It's strong. It's a word that tells you they have no intention of ever letting go. So the fight is on, and it is just chaotic and frantic. He grabs the first thing he can find, an oar, and just starts swinging, but it's not enough. One of them actually makes it onto the deck, a total violation of his safe space, and the fight becomes this desperate one-on-one struggle. But then, right here, the battle takes a sharp turn. It stops being purely physical, and it becomes psychological. The ghost's real weapon isn't its strength, it's Elias's own past. It whispers his sins to him, hitting him where it hurts most, his own guilt. But somehow, his will to live is stronger. He pushes through it and fights back. And just as suddenly as it all began, the sun comes up. He survived. The nightmare is over. But you get the feeling that while he won the battle, the memory of it, the trauma, is never, ever going to leave him. The ending here is so quiet, but man, is it heavy. The fog just lifts, the whispers are gone, and he's safe. But look at what happens next. A man whose home was the sea for 20 years sells his boat and never goes back. That tells you everything you need to know about how profoundly that one night scarred him. And this brings us right back around. To everybody else on shore, it was just another foggy night. Nothing happened. But Elias is now the keeper of this horrible secret. He knows what's really lurking out there in the mist. So what this simple story does so brilliantly is show how atmosphere, a few perfectly chosen words, and tapping into our own psychology can create a truly haunting experience. It plays on our deepest fears of the unknown and, well, it leaves us with a lingering question to think about the next time a bit of fog rolls in, doesn't it? What whispers might it hold for you?